Hello student, today in this lecture we will learn a new concept, that is law of multiple proportion. This is the third law of chemical combination, which is known as law of multiple proportion. What is this law says? According to this law, when two elements combine to form more than one compound, when two elements combine to form more than one compound, then the different masses of one element which combine with the fixed mass of other element bears a simple ratio with one another. According to this law, when two elements combine to form more than one compound. More than one compound means multiple compounds are formed. Then the different masses of one element which combine with the fixed mass of other element bears a simple ratio with one another. Let us take one example to learn this concept. When hydrogen and oxygen combine together, they form different compounds. That different compounds are water and hydrogen peroxide. The elements are same, that is hydrogen and oxygen, but compounds are more than one, that are water and hydrogen peroxide. According to this concept, when we fix the mass of one element, let us take, we fix the mass of hydrogen, that is 2 grams. Here also 2 grams. Then the masses of one element bears a simple ratio with one another. Here different masses of which element? Oxygen here 16 grams, and here 16 into 2, that is 32 grams. Different masses of one element, that is oxygen here 16 grams and oxygen here 32 grams, which combines with the fixed mass. Here the fixed mass of hydrogen, that is 2 gram and 2 gram. In both compounds the mass of hydrogen is fixed, that is 2 grams. Then what is the ratio of oxygen? The ratio of masses of oxygen is 16 is to 32, that is 1 is to 2. This is the law of multiple proportion. According to this law, when two elements combine to form more than one compound, means there is the necessary condition for this law, that is the compounds are always more than one, and when we fix the mass of one element, then other bears the simple ratio with each other. Here the different masses of oxygen which bears the simple ratio, that is 1:2 ratio with one another. This is the law of multiple proportion. Now let us take more examples for law of multiple proportion. Let us take example of carbon and oxygen. When carbon and oxygen combines together, they form carbon dioxide as well as carbon monoxide. There are two compounds of same elements, that are carbon and oxygen. One is carbon dioxide, another is carbon monoxide. Now fix the mass of carbon, that is 12 gram. Also in this compound 12 gram. And the mass of oxygen in carbon dioxide is 16 into 2, that is 32 grams. And in this compound the mass of oxygen is 16 grams. Now what is the ratio of these two oxygen atoms in these compounds? That is 32:16, that is 2:1 ratio. Means they bear a simple whole number ratio. Hence they obey law of multiple proportion. Let us take one more example. Nitrogen and oxygen. As nitrogen and oxygen combines together, they form multiple compounds, and the compounds are N2O, NO, NO2, N2O3 and N2O5. These are 5 multiple compounds of nitrogen and oxygen. The elements are same, that is nitrogen and oxygen, and compounds are different. In first compound, the mass of nitrogen is 28 and mass of oxygen is 16. In another, mass of nitrogen is 14, mass of oxygen is 16. In another, mass of nitrogen is 14, mass of oxygen is 32. In another compound, mass of nitrogen is 28 and mass of oxygen is 48. And in last compound, the mass of nitrogen is 28 and mass of oxygen is 80. According to law of multiple proportion, when we fix the mass of one element, then the masses of other element which combine with the different masses bears the simple ratio. In this example, there are different masses of nitrogen and oxygen. The first step is fix the mass of one element, either nitrogen or oxygen. Now we fix the mass of nitrogen here. In most compound, the nitrogen mass is 28, 28 and 14. Now we divide this mass by 2 and we get 14. As we divide this mass by 2, therefore we also divide this mass by 2 and this becomes 8. Divided this mass by 2, we get 14. Also we divide the mass of oxygen by 2, we get 24. Here also we divide the mass of nitrogen by 2, 14 grams. Also divide by this 2, we get 40 grams. Now the mass of nitrogen in each compound is fixed. that is 14, 14, 14, 14, 14. In each compound, the mass of nitrogen is fixed, that is 14 grams. Now, we have to calculate the ratio of masses of oxygen. Here, the 5 compounds of nitrogen and oxygen are there. Therefore, the ratio of masses of oxygen in these 5 compounds are, let us take one compound, 2, 3, 4 and 5. In first compound, the mass of oxygen is 8, and in another 16, another 32, and next one is 24, and in last one the mass of oxygen is 40. Now divide all the masses by 8, we get 1 is to 2 is to 4 is to 3 is to 5. This is the simple whole number ratio. Therefore, these compounds obey law of multiple proportion. These are the examples of law of multiple proportion. Thank you. Now we will solve the numerical problem related to law of multiple proportion. According to this question, there are 2 compounds of tin, that are tin dioxide and tin monoxide, and you have to show that this obeys law of multiple proportion. In both compounds, the amount of tin is 100 gram, that is fixed, and amount of oxygen is 13.5 grams and 27.1 grams. And we have to prove that, or we have to show that this obeys law of multiple proportion, as in these 2 compounds mass of tin is fixed, that is 100 grams. Now we have to calculate the ratio of masses of oxygen, that is tin dioxide and tin monoxide. In tin monoxide, the amount of oxygen is 13.5, and in tin dioxide, the amount of oxygen is 27.1. Therefore, the ratio of masses of oxygen is 1 is to 2 ratio. Therefore, this obeys law of multiple proportion, as there is the simple whole number ratio between the masses of oxygen in these 2 compounds.